This is the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Analyst Desk, where me, QXE, and Todd are going to help break down and dissect the games right after they happen, help you understand this incredibly complex game called StarCraft 2. Yesterday, if you didn't tune in, we had a really fun day. A lot of Polish players playing, and a full quarter of our tournament are Polish players advancing. So I'm expecting the audience today to get very, very loud. And I'm so happy that they're filtering in so quickly. Do you see the stadium filling up, man?
Yeah, it's really amazing to be here right now. I'm really excited. It's going to be a great day. One thing that we did that was pretty surprising yesterday with the open bracket, Liquid Ret not advancing, being taken down by Verity and Acer Paranoid, another Polish player.
The Confuser.
The Confuser. Yeah. Verity, the Confuser.
The Confuser himself. You know what? I'm very excited. Apparently, the Polish fans gave some Polish flags to Mana, and
oh, nice.
They give them to all the Polish players, and I really feel like they're going to be rooting for them hardcore, and that makes me very excited to know there's going to be a lot of noise here. I really hope this happens. And our first match of the day is going to be Bly versus PartinG. Very excited about this as well. Strategically, okay, we need to talk about the day, I think, a little bit first.
So we've got 4 groups coming up, and starting with Group B.
Group B, we have Siphon, our only American player in the tournament, plays Protoss. Group B, we have Bly, the Zerg from the Ukraine. We have a Terran from Spain called Lucifron. You might also know him from Warcraft 3. From Korea, possibly one of the best Protosses on planet Earth, we have SK Telecom's PartinG.
Yep.
Very excited to see him play. And right from here in Poland, we have Mouse Mana, and we have Tefl.
Dignitas Tefl.
Dignitas Tefl.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
A recent recruitment to that team. I think this is one of the first couple of events he's been playing in since he joined Dignitas. Very excited to see him play.
Group A, which we will not have on stage today, but will be on stream, and you can check it out at home. We have Moonglade from Australia. We have Grubby from the Netherlands. Not the same reception that he gets in the Netherlands, maybe. We have Snoot from Norway, who's actually had incredible results recently.
Snoot recently joined Team Liquid after his victory at Home Story Cup.
Yes.
Expecting to see a lot of good things from him.
Yes, people told me to watch out for his games, especially today, so I'm really, really happy. We have Dream from Korea, TLO, also from Team Liquid, and from Germany. And lastly, the Drunken Terran from right here in Poland, Tarson.
Yep.
Everybody loves. Group C, we have from Korea, former Codes Zerg, Juktu.
Yep, who actually made it through the North American qualifier. He's living in New York at the Clarity Gaming House right now.
But not for long, right?
I don't know.
I think you just went there. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because he seems to want to get involved with the foreign tournaments, and I think this is one of his first ones. So
yeah, this will definitely be a really good opportunity for him to prove himself.
Yes.
From Germany, the Protoss Soke. And from Poland, a favorite actually.
Yeah, definitely.
In this tournament.
One of the best players here for sure.
Absolutely. Always does well at the Intel Extreme Masters. Every event I've been to. Always a contender for the championship. Acer Nurchio. From Korea, we have Yoda. It's an incredible miracle, a Terran. From Russia, Verity, the Confuser, who confused us all yesterday and advanced past some great players and actually shows some really creative play. I'm very interested to see how he does in the group. And lastly, from Poland, another Terran, Dystar. And the final group, Group D, we have from Korea, Golden. From Spain, Vortex. From the Ukraine, Kaz. I'm skipping the team names, sorry. From Korea, a Protoss First. And from Korea, another Protoss Daisy. And lastly, we have Paranoid from here in Poland. 6 Polish players, a quarter of the tournament. It's going to be very, very exciting. We had good games yesterday. Today's games are going to be epic. I'm really excited. First up, we have Bly versus PartinG.
Yes.
Bly, if you're not familiar, he was the WCS Ukraine champion.
Yep.
He was also a former Warcraft 3 player, right? He finished second at the last DreamHack. He's a really good player. He's also very handsome. Noticed. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And his opponent, PartinG, who, if you like StarCraft 2, you're probably very familiar with, now playing for SK Telecom T1, formerly StarTale. He's the WCS Blizzard champion, and he's the WCG champion, and like I said earlier, arguably the best Protoss on planet Earth right now. Arguably. I'm very excited to get it going.
Very interesting. series to watch. I know some of the Russian, Ukraine players have their own kind of unique styles, unique strategies, so it'll be very interesting to see what Bly brings that maybe PartinG won't really have expected.
Yeah. I think it'd be a creative matchup. He's going to have to pull something out, right? I'm sure he's got a special build prepared.
Okay, do you want me to talk about this match?
Yeah, I really do, man, because you play better Protoss than I do.
Okay. So basically, I think we're going to have to talk about this in a bit, right? Or
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Why repeat ourselves, man? The first map will be Entombed. I'll tell you that much. And before we get the game going, we get back to stage, talk to these people that are here that are filling in so quickly. Please, Paul, talk to the people.
Yes, thank you very much. That's the analysis test. We'll be hearing plenty more from those three throughout the day and throughout the weekend, of course, here at the Intel Extreme Masters Season 7. It's time for our first matchup of the day. StarCraft 2, ladies and gentlemen. Please make some noise for our two players. First up, Bly!
Duże brawa dla graczy, którzy rozegrają pierwszy mecz na scenie.
And he goes head-to-head with one of the top Koreans in pro gaming, PartinG!
Są tu jacyś fani PartinGa?
Okay, we'll get a few words with both players. First, Bly, welcome to Poland, welcome to Katowice. Not too far away from home, obviously, so not too far to travel.
At all, not far.
Okay, so you had a pretty good 2012, but in your own mind, 2013, can it be bigger for you?
Actually, I'm gonna do it more and more every year, so I hope I will try to do my best today, so we'll see.
Okay, and how do you match up against PartinG, do you think?
I will try to jump from his train.
No trains incoming from PartinG.
PartinG, what do you think about your competence, about players you are going to face here?
Bly, so good player, but I am world champion. I have confidence.
Sami słyszeliście, jest pewien wygranej, uważa, że Bly jest dobrym zawodnikiem, ale wygra. Jeszcze raz brawa dla nich.
Okay, so we're ready for our first matchup between Bly and PartinG. Guys, good luck, best of luck. May the best man win. Enjoy your games. They're going to take their seats. We're going to go and take a quick dry off. And we'll pass you over to the capable hands of Jarrett Kale and co.
Zaczynamy!
Bly versus PartinG, CVP, on Entombed. What are we going to expect?
Not really sure. I mean, what do you think, Todd?
On Entombed, it's a bit of an unorthodox map, but what I'm expecting from this series is basically PartinG most likely going for a standard Immortal push, and basically Bly expecting that. And we know that Bly, he likes to open quick lair on 2 bases and then take a later third. And if he anticipates that in any kind of way PartinG will do the Immortal push, I wouldn't be surprised if Bly opens for quick Hydralisks and then just get a lot of Hydralisk and Zerglings out. But since this is Entombed, we might see PartinG just try to take a third and do some kind of a pressure with it. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, just because this is such a different map.
Yeah, on Entombed, it's really easy. You break down the rocks, you take your third very quickly.
Even before that, you make a pylon up there, you throw down the Nexus, you add 3 more gates, and you get like the fastest third ever for a Protoss player.
Right.
And then you can just do a big pressure on 3 bases just because you took it so early, and your economy will have a huge boom. But it really depends on PartinG's mood. He could just do the... It's 50-50, I think, on this map, whether he does the Immortal push or not. And as for Bly, the same thing goes for him. Like I was predicting for this series for him to open with a quick lair and maybe some Hydralisks or Mutalisks. But since he's Entombed as well, he might just go for a quick third and then go for Mutas after that. So I know he likes this on this map if he expects his opponents to take a third, because Mutas are good against a quick third from Protoss, because he can go around and harass before there is blink, and even after that he can play base trade and make some spines. But it's really entirely up to their mood and what they've prepared in this match.
Right.
Hey, you have a lot of experience in Warcraft 3 playing on stages in front of people.
Yes.
How is this affecting the players right now, being here in front of all these people live? Do you play differently? Do you have a lot more pressure on you?
I don't think it affects them too much. It might get them a little bit more stressed, but not too much. And I think they should feel excited out of it too. Like sometimes you find extra motivation in hearing people cheer when you do something. But they have a lot of experience, so I'm not expecting nervousness out of this too. They should be playing their hay game most likely here.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. For a lot of newer players, when you play on the stage for the first time, the nerves can affect you negatively. but as you get better, you get more used to it. The nerves really help you play your absolute best.
All right, well, the players are in the game. I know the crowd is waiting anxiously. The people at home are waiting anxiously. I'm waiting anxiously to get the games going. I'm going to hand it over to the casters very shortly after we discuss a little bit more what we can expect, I guess, out of this whole series. The next map is Antigua. We can talk about that.
Yep. It's a pretty good...
why do we see Antigua in some of those games? Like, why did they not remove it?
It's been in almost every series.
You know what? I will start asking the players before they play, like, why did they remove what they removed? Because it makes me curious. We saw yesterday some Immortal pushes that were successful on Antigua, so maybe that's what PartinG has in mind here on Antigua, but generally, like, it just feels like a much harder map than the other maps you could play on in this tournament. So...
Harder for who? Zerg or Protoss?
Protoss.
Of course.
Even though the...
what do I play?
the Immortal Sentry push, if you can get into that third narrow choke area, it's very easy to force field off the Zerg army, but what's the big difficulty? Is it just getting to that position?
There. Like you will be very scoutable, and it's very easy for Zerg to defend, to put pressure on the third from a Protoss. If they go Mutas, then you need to get Blink, and getting from your main to your third is very hard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And like if they go for Roaches, they got so much room. They got 2 paths through like near your third expand, and they got the rocks at the third as well. So that's 3 paths, and like it's just so hard to defend. You need perfect force fields.
And you need a lot of force fields.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what PartinG has. I feel like PartinG, he's the #1 Protoss regarding force fields. And these days, he's been the #1 Protoss in general, so that's such a huge aspect of Protoss gameplay, having some very good force fields, and I really hope we see some of those in this game, because it's always nice to see how he plans in advance to put down his force fields and how he traps perfectly units. Like, he makes it look easy, but I play Protoss, and I can tell you sometimes my army gets flanked, and you need like the best reflexes and really a lot of accuracy, and PartinG has that. He's very unique in this sense.
All right, and
the third map here in the series is Daybreak.
If we see it.
Well, obviously it is a best of 3, so we may not get to that third map. But Daybreak, a more macro-oriented map, a little bit easier to defend some of the bases. We tend to see the games go a bit longer there.
All right, well, the players are in. The game is loading. We're going to hand it over to our beautiful casters, Kaldor and Kalaris.
Thank you very much, Jared, and we are good to go. We are loading the game right now, and we have an amazing first match. I can't wait for this group. It's going to be so epic.
We do. It's going to be awesome. We are loading up for our first game here. PartinG versus Bly. Bly is a player that, you know, having sat for a long time myself in the European scene and cast so much European StarCraft, I know a lot about his kind of playstyles, what he could bring to the table here against an opponent like PartinG, who Bly will consider to be better than him, so he's going to bring maybe some shenanigans, but also, you know, some very solid play.
I'm really looking forward to this match. Usually at the end of a group, you're really pumped for the games because you know that the tournament life of the player is on the line. We are only going in our first match, and I'm already so excited about the next game. PartinG against Bly is going to be epic, especially since PartinG, of course, is a specialist against Zerg. With his train, with the Soul Train leaving the station, we might see that strategy today, but the game is live, and let's see what those two guys are doing on Entombed Valley. Will PartinG show us his Soul Train, the Immortal push, on what is Bly going to do?
Yeah, so spawning up in the top right-hand corner, guys, here for the first map of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, in the red, give it up for SKT PartinG.
Starting to the bottom left in blue, we have his opponent, the Zerg player for Team Acer. It is Bly.
Bly on Entombed. It's a map where he will, as Todd rightly pointed out, he's very, very well known for his 2-hatch late third style against Protoss. So we might see that come out here, but PartinG already deviating a little bit from the norm here.
This is actually exactly what Bly expected. I talked to him before we started the games and wanted to know what kind of strategy he has to just beat PartinG. And Bly is going for, he actually anticipated PartinG to go for the first pylon in his main base, and they expected him to play it a little bit with a gateway opening and not going straight into the Verge on this map. So his original idea was to try to go for a more of a all-in, going into like a roach and a circling attack, and we are going to see if he really goes through with it. This is one of those maps where you can gamble a little bit, especially if it's the first map of best of 3, you're up against an opponent like PartinG. You want to pressure him, you want to get in his head.
Yeah, it's a bit scary of a situation to be in for a Zerg, actually. Well, you know, seeing something a little bit out of the norm at the front of your opponent's base, something that Bly might bring to the table here during this entire best of 3, depending on the map, is actually, you know, having studied a lot of Bly's games, is the potential of some kind of spine crawler rush, and it's legit. It could actually happen here.
Yeah, but the thing is, I actually talked with PartinG about exactly this strategy, and he analyzed Bly's play like ages ago. It was one of the builds that he taught Curious. He saw Bly playing it and was like, hey, this is really a smart strategy. And then he told Curious how to use it, and Curious used it in the game against Puzzle. So PartinG knows exactly about Bly's style, and he also knows how to counter it. And the one thing that's really important about Bly's Spinecrawler Rush is, if you are not aware of it, if you don't know the build, then you will lose the game.
Yes.
But as soon as you know what's going on, you can easily counter it with just a forward cannon. So that's something that PartinG is definitely aware of, but a very good point that you're raising here.
Yeah, it's either, if Bly goes for that, it's going to be either on Antigua or Metropolis. I believe we do have Antigua in that map pool, so that is something that could come to fruition in this entire series. But for now, Bly just going for that extractor trick, trying to ramp up the production here, grabbing his natural as well, playing this out a little more standard to kick things off in the very beginning, and PartinG for now, hey, you might be putting a pylon at somewhere locations.
And you know, with PartinG, one of the things that we just saw in the recent past were his games against Nestea that we saw at Iron Squid. And what was really incredible about Nestea's play was that he knew if PartinG gets into his rhythm, if PartinG is able to just execute his standard play, then it's really, really tough for the Zerg player to survive. So Nestea always starting with an early pull, trying to pressure PartinG. And that really did a number on the young Protoss player from Korea. So Bly at this point might try to do exactly the same thing. We have him with the second base. Todd mentioned earlier at the analysis desk that Bly is really a player who likes to go for 2 bases, then tag up and then take a late third base. But PartinG knows this as well. He studied his opponent's style. It's not like he's the world champion right now. He won WCS, he won everything that you could win at the end of the last year, but he's not getting condescending or anything. He studies his opponent and he wants to win this tournament.
And that's why he's the world champion. He takes these precautionary measures against these players, and for now, hey, we might even see PartinG go for a quick third. It looks like he was just checking for now, going to the mineral line, but heading off away from there. In fact, that was actually not his base. He was checking if Bly's third was there, excuse me. So, you know, he's just confirming what he already knew, the potential for a late third from Bly here with a little bit extra gas, and that's going to fuel a bit more tech here from Bly's side of things.
And for Bly, things are already a little bit different. Bly was analyzing PartinG's scouting pattern, and he said, well, usually PartinG goes and tries to block the hatch for as long as possible, waits until the probe is down to 5 HP, and then he sneaks it in the main base again. And Bly's original strategy was to just leave one of his drones on the ramp, making sure that the probe can't get in again, that he can't pick it off and get gas in the main base. And he got the gas, and he's now getting the second one. But PartinG changed his style a little bit. So at this point, we have PartinG not with the scouting pattern that Bly was expecting. So for Bly, this could mean like 2 things. Either he's happy with what happened so far and just goes through with it, but with the 2 spine crawlers that are currently coming up and the layer tech, you can already see that Bly changed his original plan and was like, okay, well, this is a little bit different right now. We also have cross position. I'm going to change things up and I'm going to play a normal game.
Yep, he's going in for a little bit of a scout here with this Overlord, trying to see what he can see. Actually double scouting with these Overlords, so he's going to be able to see a good majority of what his opponent is up to right now. One Overlord does end up dying. The second one may end up dying very soon as well. That second one a bit sacrificial actually here.
Yeah, the second Overlord now also dying, not scouting anything at all, and Bly gets the extra gas. With all those spine crawls, he can also see that he's heading into a Mutalisk play. This is one of his go-to builds. He loves to play with Mutalisk. He knows that his micro and his decision-making with those air units is really excellent, and he will try to pressure PartinG with those. And PartinG, of course, he's a player who has shown us in the past, in the Blizzard Cup, for example, that he is great against Mutalisks. He never hesitates to throw down cannons, sometimes at the third base, 14, 15, 16 cannons, no problem at all. He knows if there's a base race scenario, he has to be prepared, he has to have a defense at home.
Yeah, and to be fair to what PartinG's doing as well, I really actually like the fact that he's taking this third a little bit slower than you would normally see on this map. Some people just go straight for, you know, 1 gate into third base with a wall off at the front after some kind of forge fast expand, but he anticipates Bly being a bit more aggressive, being a bit more non-standard from here on, and this really gives him good presence of mind and good defensive capabilities to deal with what Bly can throw at.
Yeah. Really important here for all the guys that just now tuned in. I talked to PartinG about how he is, if he is jet lagged or if he is already completely accustomed, if he's like in the best condition that he could play it. And he said, yeah, like, he's no problem. He slept well. He has no jet lag whatsoever at this point. So he is really now trying to play his best. And this is, of course, one of the best plays that we have in the world. And Bly, he has to show that he can keep up with him. The Spy attack, as expected, is on the production tab. For PartinG, we already have what you would expect going into a third base. The Twilight Council trying to get the +2 attack upgrade and blink as fast as possible, gearing up with those gateways. And getting just all the tech that he can now afford with the third base that is currently securing with the wall at the ramp.
Yeah, this is a pretty good situation for, well, both players. It's not really going to be going too crazy just yet. Bly going for the double expand, though. PartinG might not be anticipating that unless his scouting is absolutely keen, and we have the blink already on the way for him as well, so he should be able to stabilize quite nicely against these initial Mutalisks on the way, and he's already getting +1 weapons. And this is really nice from Bly. I love Mutalisk mid-games from Zergs against Protoss because it leads so nicely on to the late game when you want to get those Broodlords. It benefits the Broodlings hitting with that first initial punch.
The Mutalisk timing for Bly is what you would expect from a 2-base style. We have him with roughly 11 minutes. He will arrive at his opponent's main base, and this is also the reason why he gets this double expand now, because he knows that with the Mutalisks on the map at the beginning, he can't pressure PartinG. For the Protoss player, it's really difficult to move out now. He doesn't even have blink yet, and if he leaves his complete main base, the third and the natural exposed, then Bly will just take down his economy.
Yeah.
So for PartinG, this is a spot where he has to play it safe, he has to defend his bases, he wants to gear up, get those upgrades, go up to 150, 200 supply, and then move out, try to claim a fourth base. And then we will most likely see all these cannons that I talked about earlier, always depending on how heavily Bly commits to the Mutalisk.
Yeah, and those cannons become so useful on a map like this, where 3-base can be so easy to defend against this kind of threat. Just positioning them on the extremities of your third and second makes it very easy to zone out those kind of Mutalisk plays. But for now, Bly is moving into position here to the north. It looks like we'll have to see if PartinG is going to be able to deal with it effectively.
And Bly now with 4 bases, moving into his opponent's third, trying to do some damage, but Blink is ready, and here comes the Blink, immediately picking off the first Mutalisk, and Bly is fighting. He can't afford to do that, not against Guardian Shield and this many Stalkers, moves back immediately, but already losing 2 of his Mutalisks.
Yeah, that was way too much firepower, but behind that, Bly, it seems as if he's trying to keep his opponent pinned in whilst he takes full control of the map.
Yeah.
He's not spreading creep, but he's breaking down all of the locations with Zerglings, with the rocks even, just to try and control as much space in the middle as he can do, open up a lot of attack paths, because if you're playing this link heavy style on the ground, you've got good maneuverability, and what benefits that more? A lot of space to move around him.
I love this Overseer, and he's trying to snipe all those observers. Great play here by Bly. This is actually a little bit like he did it in Brood War. Now we have the +2 attack upgrade already on the board for the Mutalisk, so he really commits to this play, and he's droning up heavily. Now being on 4 bases, he can afford it. He's controlling the map. He's at 15, and a nice blink by PartinG, sniping another Mutalisk, and then retreating. Look at those 2 Stalker forces that he has. This is so awesome.
Yeah, splitting it up really gives you a lot more presence at the front of your map here. PartinG taking a little bit of supply lead for now, as Bly does have, well, both of them are sitting at relatively similar incomes here, with the 81 drones to the 69 pros, but they're not as, well distributed basically. So Bly still trying to find a little bit of a position to try and snip in here.
And the big advantage now at this point for Bly is, of course, that he has so much gas. And he snipes another Overseer. And here come those cannons that I've been talking about. PartinG building them everywhere. And this will continue up to the point where he decides that he has the army that he wants, where he's going to move out, and where Bly has to find an answer to deal with this army. And his answer currently is the higher tech, going into the infestation pit. Then he can also go into Hive. You pointed that out earlier. The Spire will help him then transition into the Greater Spire, into Broodlords. And we already have him also with Roach Warren and Baneling Nest.
Yeah, just adding on everything here. The Fungals and Baneling Nest will just synergize so well if it gets to that point, especially, with Broodlords as well, coupling up with it. It just adds extra elements to really annoy him. Nice blink forwards, will pick off a few of these Mutalisks once again, but actually the Stalkers fall pretty quick, and that's only with +1 weapons thus far.
And you have to realize that at this point, Bly did not do a lot of damage with the Mutalisk. He pinned PartinG down in the main base, and he was able to pick off a Stalker or 2, also these Observers. But it's not like he did damage to the economy. Only 2 workers killed so far. And usually you try to, at least with the initial attack, kill a lot more of these Harvesters. So PartinG with a really good defense, Bly still annoying his opponent, and now we have more and more cannons. You can really see that PartinG wants to move out very soon.
I think Bly is really focusing his Mutalist play on this left-hand side, just to potentially deny, or another blink forwards here, potentially deny the activity of a fourth base as well. He's just sitting around in this area, being very, very mobile in that location, and PartinG has been pinned down, as you rightly pointed out, for a long while here, 16-minute mark approaching.
At this point, one thing that we don't see for Bly at all is creep spread. He doesn't spread his creep, we have nothing of that on the minimap. It's of course really complicated right now with this macro. He needs to pay attention, and the Mule just, oh my god, an awesome blink by PartinG, and Bly with a mistake doesn't see it, and this was a trap set up by the Protoss player. Well done, and this puts a lot of pressure now on Bly suddenly.
It really does. Lings and Banelings actually running into the death here. No centrifugal hooks. Force fields go down, preventing all the Banelings from capturing those Stalkers, and PartinG gets another really nice trade, but Bly doing some damage in the back with the Mutalist once again.
And now PartinG moving out here, the Mutalist trying to move in to do a bit more damage to the main base at the same time. Of course, all those Banelings trying to run away, and PartinG left himself a little bit open, but can he... I hope that was a misclick.
That sincerely was. All the probes going down here from Bly as well. He's anticipating the base trade. He's expanded down to the bottom right-hand corner. Zerglings and Banelings trying to get some coverage, but the force fields completely shut that off, and PartinG is doing a lot of damage at the front.
But so is Bly. He's moving in, taking down cannon after cannon. This is a base race scenario, and once again the blink forward for PartinG, the Protoss player, trying to take out as much base supply as possible. The Roach is streaming in, doing a little bit of damage, while the Mutalists are still taking apart the base of the Protoss player.
Those Banelings got absolutely disintegrated by those Colossi, but now PartinG still pushing up into his main. He can get all the tech, but the Mutalist still going for the trade. The problem is all of those cannons. PartinG at his third, taking massive precautions here against Bly's threat.
And so he should. He has to do it, but you mentioned the base at the bottom right, and this is what Bly has to do. He has to expand all over the base, bottom right, top left, trying to just spread those expansions out as much as possible. And here comes another blink. The Mutalist is in trouble. The Mutalist count is down to 4. He lost all of them here, and suddenly Bly down to 70 supply against PartinG's 165.
All he has is 3 Mutalists and 10 Roaches left on the map. 8 Roaches, 7 Roaches. They're being whittled down. They're caught. Bly is down and out here. No more army left. SKT PartinG is on the verge of taking game number 1.
GG! And game PartinG takes the first match on Entombed Valley.
Very nice game there by PartinG to kick things off here for day number 2. Bly looked a little bit strong against that. He could never really get the damage done with the Mutas.
Yeah, the big problem for him was just how safe PartinG played this, and you could really see that Bly was struggling to do damage. So a very exciting game 1 that we had, and we're kicking it back to the analysis desk, and let's see what those guys have to say about our first match, the Entombed game. Jared, what did you guys talk about during the first game?
Incredibly strong first game from PartinG.
Yeah.
How did he make that look so easy?
He got the perfect read on what Bly was doing in my eye. Yeah, he saw the mutas, okay, and then he knew the strategy that he needed to pursue. Spreads his Stalkers out, puts some at the natural, some at the third, gets blink really quick, and then starts researching that plus attack upgrade. Puts his units in a position where he can't take damage. He just keeps his units, he blinks when the mutas get too close, keeps macroing, keeps building units. When he gets to like somewhere over 100 supply, 120, 130, he adds his Robo, he gets his Robo Bay, he starts making Colossus, and his whole strategy, wait until he's close to 200, 200, wait until +3 is about to finish, and then he does a gigantic Stalker Colossus timing that a Muta player just cannot hold.
It looked perfect to me. It looked like from the moment the game started, he knew exactly what was going to happen, and he executed flawlessly. I am very jealous of that play, and as I imagine Todd is too.
I think definitely in this game, we didn't see very many mechanical mistakes. Neither player was getting supply stuck, but PartinG's strategy was just so much better. He knew exactly how to deal with those mutas, what timing he needed to exploit, where the muta player is most weak. And it's that close to 200, 200, couple Colossus that helps you deal with mass speedling, snipe some of the Banelings, a couple Sentries to help keep the Banelings away from your army. Banelings actually, a lot of Banelings will do relatively effectively against a big mass of Stalkers if you don't have force fields. And you can force some weird blinks, you can kind of get their army out of position, but he had the Sentries, he kept them alive, he had the Stalker count, and I think Todd's going to take us into the replay where we're going to take a look at some of the key moments near the end of the game where PartinG really took it.
Okay, so we see PartinG moving out here. He's on the 181 supply, 112 army supply to the 114 of Bly. One thing you need to know, he just got +3. He basically cannot lose to any tier 2 ground army right now. So we have Mutas in this game, but I mean, with this many Stalkers, you can't really be scared of those Mutas. All he has to be scared of is some Baneling detonations, some big Baneling detonations inside of his Stalkers. He has his sentries for that, so he tries to scout as much as possible. Actually, we see Bly here trying to catch PartinG out of position, but PartinG, he reacted too fast. He was able to completely force field this army off, and Bly had to pull back at this point. In the meantime, he has to choose one of his base to defend. He cannot defend all of them, so he makes a lot of cannons here. And he leaves his expansion and his main pretty much completely exposed, except for those few cannons, which are not going to have a chance. Bly, he opened with 2 bases, and then he took a 3rd and a 4th, but those were really late. So he never had the economy to make a lot of spine crawlers. See, he has like a couple at his 4th here, and he has like 4 here, which is nothing against this army. So PartinG is just going to be able to crush through here with this really nice timing, which was basically like QXC said, you just rush to 200 supply with big attack upgrades. You go for this timing and you just try to finish your opponent. A lot of the time the Zerg will try to go for the counter attack, but then how do you kill this base? You can't.
Yeah, PartinG again showing us his amazing strategic understanding of this matchup, of this situation. There was really no point in this game where he was going to lose, where he was even close to losing. He was always one step ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
And so you're Acer Bly. You're on stage right now. You are facing the world champion, and he just completely shut you down in game 1. What's going through your mind, and how do you prepare yourself for the next game?
What's the next map is Antigua, right?
It's on Antigua.
So we can just think about that and smile. I guess you just have to forget the first game and focus on the next game and try to reconcile yourself with the fact you just lost and really like move on.
Yeah, definitely. He's got
think about strategies for the next map.
It's very important as a player on stage, well, a player anywhere. You just forget about the last match. You take what you can from it. You think about it, and then you stop thinking about it. Focus on the next game. You get ready to go. And if I was Bly, I'd want to choose one of my less conventional strategies, something that I don't think PartinG will see, because PartinG reacted very well to that Mutalist strategy, which is, you know, somewhat common. We see that.
So the next map is Antigua. What can we expect?
We mentioned this a little bit before. PartinG, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a Immortal push here, and Bly just tries to react, but I don't know, like, I feel like PartinG, people always expect it out of him. So there is less chance that he will do it, but he still does it a lot of the time and makes it succeed. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see an Immortal push, Bly trying to react correctly, reacting mostly correctly to it, but PartinG still making it work.
Okay, well the game is underway, I'm told.
Yeah.
We are not in the game, but I think the casters are, and we're going to throw it over to them.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to game number 2. PartinG currently ahead with a 1-0 in the series, and now we're going to find out on Antigua Shipyard if Bly can tie the series up or if PartinG takes it with a quick 2-0.
Yep, I must agree with the analysis desk there. He needs to bring something a little bit unconventional to the table, but at the same time, as you pointed out before, PartinG already knows about some of the shenanigery that Bly can get up to. So that is going to play a massive factor here if Bly actually doesn't realize that his opponent knows all about it.
Exactly. So we're going to find out what exactly we have Bly doing now. Here we have him on camera, and PartinG and his opponent, they are currently getting ready in the game. We have, of course, cross position with our Protoss players starting at the bottom right of the map. In red, we have SK Telecom's PartinG.
Spawning up to the north as our blue Zerg. He needs your cheers, guys. Give it up for Acer Bly.
I'm really interested to see what exactly Bly's strategy is for this game, for the reasons mentioned. Of course, he needs to win the game if he wants to tie things up, and at the same time, one of the big issues for him here is that in the early game, it's really difficult to just stop this Immortal push. And we're all waiting for the Immortal train. At some point, we will see the Immortal push of PartinG. And he has been a bit reluctant to show his strategy early on. You could see that in the Blizzard Cup as well. Everyone was expecting the strategy against Violet. He didn't use it once. And then suddenly, when he was up against Sniper, bam! 3 times in a row, and Sniper didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, not at all. It's so hard to deal with from PartinG. The micro involved in PartinG's pushes are such Such strong play here. PartinG does see that his opponent's going for the expansion. Actually, he went for hatchery first here into spawning pool, and PartinG's not deciding to do anything about it.
This is actually something that Bly told me earlier. He said, I expect him to once again go into a gateway first, not into a forge play, and if he does it, then I will immediately drop my hatch and then go for my spawning pool. So this is exactly the play that he wanted to go through, and I really like that he sticks with the original idea, because if you lose the first game, it can really play a lot of tricks on you. So him still being in the mindset where he focuses on game number 2 does exactly what Kyrxy and Todd told us earlier. You have to forget about game 1 and just focus everything on the second game with the free money.
PartinG constantly keeping a probe on the map as well, just to be able to eventually scout out if there's some kind of third going down, but it's Bly. It's going to be very unlikely that he's going for some kind of quick third very soon, unless, of course, he switches things up, goes into a more conventional play here on Antigua Shipyard. And, you know, PartinG, he's just playing his own standard style. It's a nice thing to see.
Bly's now getting those initial circlings, and he's getting a lot of them. He will probably even get a few more than this. His idea is to pressure PartinG at the beginning. He wants to make sure that PartinG doesn't get his rhythm. He watched those games that ST played against the strong Protoss player, and he kind of want to follow this example. He goes probably into more of attack, then takes his third, not playing the normal style that we see Zergs play on this map. And this is also one of those ways how you dodge a little bit, fall victim to the Immortal push, because you have the Infestors out earlier, but PartinG also changed his opening. So this is going to be a really, really exciting game. I think that we will have Bly with a lot of pressure early on here.
Sneaky, sneaky Zerglings there, starting around the Watchtower vision, so he's going to be able to waddle into his opponent's natural here, whilst the Zerglings, the other Zerglings even, hunt down that probe, which would have been so pesky at a third. Those Zerglings are going to actually breach.
And look what we have here. We don't have a lot of damage potential for PartinG. He only has one sentry, that's all. He needs to force field the ramp. The Stalker isn't even here yet. And here come the Zerglings. He doesn't see it. The sentry's surrounded, and it just dies. His entire main base is suddenly open up to Bly.
And then the Stalker's going to die in the middle of the map as well. Those Zerglings are actually tearing out a lot of probes here. He's heading to micro really, really aggressively. Only 3 probes have gone down thus far. One of those was the scouting probe. But look at the probe control here. 5 probes have gone down, but this could have been a lot more.
And it's a lot more already. 6 probes in the early game. This is devastating. He's losing another one. He lost 8 in total. The Sentry and the Stalker. Oh my god, I can't believe it. PartinG completely falling apart in the early game. He just must have been completely blindsided by those Zerglings. There's no way he saw those. He was surprised so much.
Well, exactly. He didn't see them coming across the map at all. He only thought there was the 4 Zerglings out initially to deal with the probe and the Stalker, and this Zergling is causing so much problems in itself.
Yeah, exactly. The Zergling in the main base just for the scouting and everything, that's already too much. And look at Bly. Bly is actually changing his original plan. Originally, his idea was, well, I pressure him early on, then I fall back into my macro plane. Now suddenly he realized, hey, I did so much damage, I can just pressure him even more now. I'm so far ahead at this point.
It's like bullying in poker. You end up getting a bit of a chip stack, and then from that point on, you can easily continue to apply pressure to your opponents, keep raising constantly, and that's what Bly's doing here. He's raising the stakes. PartinG is going to have a hard time dealing with this, but he's making some nice SimCity.
Yeah, he gets additional gates now. Here come the Zerglings trying to run in, this time, of course, with speed, with additional pressure. PartinG needs to defend here, and he's going to have a tough time. The force fields are good. So I talked about the force field placement, and this is actually so true. It's like PartinG stole Seed's skill to use force fields. No, it's actually true. At some point, Todd asked Seed because he wanted to know what is your mouse sensitivity, because he's like, I can't drop force fields like that. I have to learn how this guy does it. And now, suddenly it's PartinG who drops those perfect force fields that makes it so hard for Zerg players to beat him.
Oh, wow, and somehow, someway, PartinG has managed to sneak a probe once again to his opponent's 3rd location. He could use that to pressure a little bit, especially when these 3 gateways finish up. And right now, Bly is committing quite a lot to the spine crawlers at the front. He's also getting a lot of Zerglings, which will help out in that situation as well, though.
Bly decided that if he runs against his opponent's defense, the only thing that he's going to catch is a bloody nose. So he's going now for his tech, again, for the spine crawlers. But you mentioned the probe. The pylon is there, and if he doesn't get a scout very soon, then a lot of gateway units will pressure him hard and most likely kill the 3rd base.
Those Zerglings are en route to actually potentially intercept these sentries. He's going to check the 3rd base. This gives PartinG a lot of time to actually realize what's going on. Force fields go down, and looks like he's going to be able to trap these Zerglings by looks of things.
Yeah, nice splits here by Bly, and this makes it a lot more dangerous to PartinG.
An interesting little micro battle going on here. The Zerglings trying to get some surface area on some of these sentries from both sides.
Doesn't kill a single one.
Yeah, not too much.
And here comes the Zealot warp in to the top left. Suddenly it's PartinG who attacks once again, and his economy is actually not that bad. He's at 42 harvesters, and Zergling's running in again at his own natural though at the bottom right. But here come those units from PartinG crossing the map now, and how is Bly going to respond to it? He just now sees what's happening here.
Such a funky, aggressive game here from them in game number 2. PartinG, though, actually going to find a lot of potential to do some damage here. He just marches across the entire map with his sentries, not caring about the Zergling counterattack imminent, and he's got such, again, good SimCity that these Zerglings can't do anything, whilst PartinG rips apart this third.
Bly is not even trying to defend here. He knows fully well that at this point there is just no chance. But PartinG lost a lot of harvesters, and now we have the, well, we have the infestation pit nearly completed, but he needs pathogen glands. +1 armor is now being researched, and here come all those Spinecrawler. No +1 attack for PartinG though, so those Zealots are not as effective against the Zerglings as they could be.
That's such a scary force pushing in here. He has so much space control potential. The Zealot's going to tank a lot of the damage here whilst he pushes forward. Nice force fields against the Zerglings flooding in as well. They get no surface area on any of PartinG's army as he separates all of this and kills off the spines.
Bly with great micromanagement, focusing those sentries with the spine crawlers as they attack, but he needs more, and here comes the force field on the ramp. There it is, and now the drones are being pulled up the mineral line. He's trying to crush this force, he's moving in, the first infestors are building, and PartinG is shielding his units with additional force fields. This is such an insane game. How is PartinG able to come back?
PartinG knows every single one of his opponent's units are all just melee, so as long as he surrounds himself with force fields, he'll be completely fine. Another force field on the ramp. PartinG is supply block now, but is that going to matter as he takes out the entirety of his natural?
If you have the force field on the ramp and this many sentries, there's no way your main base is going to play a role, and now suddenly Bly just has to face a Protoss player who even walks up into his main base, drops another pylon, and can now force field the ramp again, and this is exactly what he does. The perfect position for him to take down the economy and the entire production attack of Bly.
GG!
Wow!
PartinG.
What a game. PartinG takes it with a 2-0 after this insanely good lead for Bly in the early stage of the game.
Yeah, indeed, there is PartinG. There is your winner for the first series, guys. And even Infestors couldn't save him at that point.
He just played a little bit too greedy after he thought himself so far ahead, and he was miles ahead. He killed so many of his opponent's probes. Even with the second run by into his opponent's natural, he took down in total 18 harvesters.
Yep. That's true, that's true. So that is going to do it for our first series, guys. We are going to hand it to the analysis desk to see what Jarrett and the guys think about that game.
A decisive 2-0 win for PartinG. A very rough start, missing a key force field, and for a player like me, that would have been GG. And yet I blinked and he came back. How did he do that?
Basically, he was not paying attention and he lost his sentry, and after that it was looking pretty bad. I was not kidding when I said Antigua is a hard map, but it was his obvious mistake here. He made a funny face, by the way, after he lost the sentry.
Yeah, he pouted. Yeah. It was cute.
He did. And after that, basically, he went for a 5 gates push, which Bly really did not seem prepared for. We've seen him go for gate expand in those games, and this is not the usual PartinG we see, but he's trying to mix it up. He's a very good player, very versatile player. He has very good force fields, as I said, so going for this kind of pressure or attacks with timings and a lot of sentries early on, this is going to be even stronger than if another players did it. So maybe that's why he chose to do that, but basically he just went for the 5 gates pressure at Eder Scott style, and Bly didn't react properly. In the previous game, actually, he had opened 5 gates too, which is the usual, like when you open gate expand, you do like Nexus after 1 gate, you add on 2 more gates at your expand to help wall, and then you add 2 more gates after that, so that you can put pressure if the Zerg takes a quick third. But in the first game, he chose the passive approach, where like he went for macro and he didn't attack basically. But in this game, he turned things around and he really went for this big pressure, tried to do damage, force spines and units out of his opponents, and he just ended up killing him. So
yeah,
very well done by PartinG.
It definitely felt like PartinG got behind because of a mistake, but then he came back because he understood a good timing that he could exploit. Bly just kept throwing away units. He kept throwing away speedlings here and there that he really didn't need to be doing.
Look at those guys. They're awesome.
They're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The crowd here is enormous.
That is a really... Oh, he's got a StarCrafts poster. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's the animated cartoon. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really funny. Blizzard linked that, actually.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Very funny.
Yeah, these shots do not do this justice. Looking back over this audience, it is absolutely huge. It's very cool. This is the coolest esports event I've been to yet. Obviously, I'm not saying it's the coolest ever. I haven't been to them all. This is awesome. I'm really proud. I'm proud for Carmack, man. He made me tear up. I can't watch someone cry. It makes me cry. I'm going to give you a quick recap of the other games that are happening on the other streams. In the background, we had Dream defeated TLO 2-1. We had Mana defeated Tefl 2-0. We had Tarson and Grubby right now are tied 1 game apiece. Snoot, the Norwegian Zerg, took out the Australian Zerg Moonglade 2-0. And Luciferon is up 1-0 on the American Siphon right now. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, PartinG's playing again, and this time it's against the local hero, Mouse Mana. Don't go anywhere.